Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Oliver Wiedmaier at Ollie_all caps on Twitter, founder of Voyage Trading Group. I want to go over the trades that I took this week, as well as the trades that some people in my Discord took, and we're going to go over quality setups, and we're going to go over what makes one setup a higher quality than another setup, and we will go over range expansion and what it is we are looking for before entering a breakout. I do have a bit of a different weekend routine. This is something that I do at the end of my week. Instead of going through hundreds and hundreds of charts, what I do is kind of review names that I've been watching, and I review names that people that I know and talk to and share ideas with, what trades they took, and then I try to review what went good and what went bad, and how to try to predict breakouts in the future. This was a huge name, ASPN. This was a earnings, great earnings, big gap up, potentially an EP. It is getting 2 days tight here. But I would like a small a pullback rather than just as tight closes. That is part of my criteria. Is I like the fading a bit, and the narrowing of the range, plus the 2 tight closes. So if this happens to break out on Monday or Tuesday, I would pass. Let's say has a big, nice expansion bar here. I would end up passing it. I prefer the a stock that is going to trade down a little bit before making the breakout. So this is something I am watching, but I'm not interested at the moment. BAC is a name that was shared in the Discord. This was the entry candle. You see that we have all these tight closes. This closed over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 candles, right? So we have that momentum, that pullback, tight closes, and then this range expansion candle gapped up and faded, which we saw a lot of on Friday. By the way, my Discord is totally free. I'm not trying to promote it too much, but it is just a few people that share ideas. I'm not really an alert type of service. BBIO is another name that was traded in the group. You see it closed over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It closed over all of these closes. And it had the gap up, faded a little bit. So if you had your stop at break even or half the range, you would have been just wicked out. If you kept it at the low of the day, you would still be in this trade. But this is what we're looking for. We are looking for this sort of move. We want to see a momentum burst of at least 20%. This barely hits the cutoff. 2 to 7 day pullback. We want to see tightening right here. This did have some range expansion. So you see here, this is a little bit of I would say an A- or a B+ setup, because you do have a small range expansion. You can see how tight these bodies of the candles are. And then this does have a range expansion. This range expansion actually is a 1,400% range expansion. And of course, this range expansion, 242% of this candle. And so this is a great breakout candle. However, this range expansion in the pullback does make this less of a quality of a setup, but still fits most of the criteria. And so this would have been the entry, and I know that some people in the group took that. I did not take it. I bought Celsius on Thursday. It did gap up and fade, so I took profits and got out. But again, you want to see the run up. You want to see some tight closes. You see that close and that close. You see how tight that is. And then it had the range expansion, close over the 50-day. I bought it somewhere in the late morning around here. So we'll see what happens with that. A lot of people on Twitter I saw traded this name. A lot of people bought it here for whatever reason. They were looking at it like they wanted this. I'm sorry. They wanted this to be their trigger, which is ridiculous because um, the the entry is down here. You have a range expansion after a 2-day pullback, and then a small gap up. If you're gonna trade a gap up, you want to trade a big gap up like this. You're not going to have the same result trading a small gap up like this. So this was a total red flag for me. The entry was here, the entry was not here, and anybody who entered here, what they're doing is they're buying on FOMO because they see that it's breaking out, that it already broke out. And so that is what I'm trying to teach all of my coaching clients and all the free members on Discord is trying to start your entry enter on the start of the swing rather than after the swing has started because you're just buying out of FOMO. If you bought here, you could still be in the trade, but it's likely that there's going to fade back because of this reversal here. This line is not the proper entry. The entry is after the pullback. Okay, moving on. This is a name that I've been tracking because you have this big move. You have 3 tight closes and that fade. So this is something that I would look to see if there's another range expansion. And then potentially you could run and start a new leg. So this is something I am watching. This came on my screener at this 6% reversal candle. DJT, this is a name that I traded. I bought it on this candle. You have this momentum, you have the pullback, tight closes here, and then you have the range expansion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, blah, 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 blah. This is the proper entry here. Okay, moving on. GCI, this is a red flag. You have this range expansion in the consolidation. So this is a range expansion. Yes, this is a breakout. However, the quality of this setup is poor because you have a range expansion in the consolidation period, and you want 2 tight closes. The close here and the close here is not a tight close. This is a tight close, right? Because you have the close here and the close here. This is a tight close. So if this candle would have did something like this, if this candle would have done something like that, then that would have been the breakout candle. And that is very similar to pins. You can see you had 2 tight closes, and then you had this breakout candle closing at the highs above the resistance. And you are not getting that in this name. A lot of people might say that this is a breakout candle, and it is a breakout candle. However, the setup is a poor setup. This name was shared in the group. This is the breakout candle, close above the 50-day. I don't think I traded this, but I think it was discussed. You have these tight closes here. Again, 2 tight closes. But I don't really love this. You have this range expansion candle here. Then you have a gap up and fade. And so this is kind of a ugly, poor setup. But I think it was discussed. More than likely, I passed on it. As far as a setup versus a B setup, this would be like a C setup. Just a name I'm watching. I had this nice gap. This is a EP candidate. This is a name that I bought. Again, you have this nice leg up, 2 days tight. Then you have the big range expansion, closing above all of this prior resistance. And then you have the follow through. We're not seeing a lot of follow through, so this is constructive, but we need to see this thing really kick into high gear. Again, this is a perfect example of the momentum, the momentum cycle. You have a leg up, then you have a pullback, and then another leg up. And so this is exactly what I'm going to see. If you're not familiar with the momentum cycle, I'll show you a screenshot. This is the momentum swing cycle. You have a downtrend. You have a breakout candle that kicks off a momentum leg. It pulls back, and then it has another breakout, and that continues the momentum forward. And so we are looking for, we're looking to repeat this over and over and over again. We do have some rules. We want leg one to be 20%. We need 2 to 7 days of narrowing range and tight closes before the breakout. And we want the breakout candle to close above prior resistance. And so this is what we're looking to repeat over and over and over again. And this happens naturally in the market, and building your edge around this can be really profitable. Okay, now we look at KD. This is a China name, so I passed on it, but this does fit our criteria. We have the momentum, 2 tight closes, and then the follow through. Similar to pins, but pins does have the 2 candles after the big gap up. So it's a little bit different, but again, this setup works, and it is repeatable. Mullen, this is a stock that I traded on this day. This is more of an exhaustion reversal. You see that these aren't exactly tight closes, but you can see that this is intentional selling, and then you have this reversal. So this is a good entry. I was taken out at a break even on this little wick here, but we are seeing some follow through. I wasn't planning to hold in this name for too long anyways, because it does have earnings coming up. Invex, this was traded. I didn't trade it, but I know a lot of people in the group were talking about it. This was a big topic that we discussed. I bought it here, and everyone thought I was crazy, but this does fit the criteria. And then it moves on, has earnings, and then gaps up. So it is possible, to have some charts that are uglier than others, but as long as it fits the criteria, 20% minimum leg. It does have this tight. You can see this close and that close. That is 2 tight closes, and yeah, and so I bought that and made a little bit of money on it. We've already looked at pins. Working. Powell, I bought this here. Gap up and fade, so I sold it. But again, you have 2 tight closes. You have this downward selling, 2 tight closes, and then you have the momentum to the upside. I did not trade this. This is a very good setup. I am not a big fan of when the leg is very gappy, so I passed on it. But this does definitely fit the criteria. 2 tight closes here. You have a momentum burst of 44%. So we will see, and so we will track if this follows through. But this is a decent setup. I'd say B plus or an A setup. Rent, this is a stock that I don't know why the red is above there. Oh, because I took a partial. So I traded this on Friday. I bought here and took a partial here, and we will see if it has a follow through or not. But again, 2 tight closes. You have a momentum here, and so a lot of people are hung up on this part of the chart here, but I'm focused on this part of the chart. This is where I'm seeing the momentum. 3 days. Pause, and then the big range expansion. So you can see when I say range expansion, I'm talking about the body of the candle is bigger than the body of the candle prior. This is a bit of a larger candle than I would like. However, the 2 tight closes, and this does seem like intentional selling, and I'm okay with intentional selling if I'm seeing signs of a reversal. Not A plus, but strong enough for me to enter the stock. SFM, this is a good entry. 2 tight closes. You have this momentum. There is a red flag. This is not a young setup. I want to see stocks that are coming off of the bottom right? I don't want to be trading unless I'm trading like a liquid leader. Then I'll trade up here. But for the most part, for kind of aggressive swing trading, I'm going to be swinging when it's coming out of stage one and into that stage two and flagging. Um, and that is how I like to trade for swing trades, at least. SON, a bunch of us bought this in the group. Big range expansion, two tight closes, and then you have this momentum burst, 20% minimum. Did not go very far, but I know I personally I took some profits as I started seeing it reverse, and then I was stopped out. Tech, this was a stock traded in the group. Big range expansion. You have two tight closes. You have this big momentum going up, and then it follows through. So this is a very good setup here. Again, a little bit gappy here. I didn't purchase this, but I know some of the guys in the group did. But this is a better setup. This is a decent setup. And so the idea here, and this is an exercise that I do every day and every week, is I look through what was traded, whether I took it or not, and I see how I could replicate it so I can train my eyes to know that if I see something like this, breaking out, I know, okay, it's worked before, and I'm going to try to replicate it. So that's the idea, is training my eyes for the day before the breakout so that when I see a candle breaking out, I recognize the pattern and I try to replicate it. This was at at close buy. Put an order in at the close. Stop at half the range, and you see it followed through. 5% followed through. The stop loss was, I think, less than 2. Yeah, I think it was. That seems right. Yeah, 1.8. I know it was less than 2%. So we are, more than double our risk on this. And again, you have tight closes. You have a momentum coming up. And so I really like that setup, which is why the entry was at the end of the day. Not a lot of people like that, and I get it. It's not what you're used to, but it is, again, a naturally occurring phenomenon in the market. You have stocks that go up, they fade, and then they have another burst. Okay? The natural swing of the market. This is a decent setup right now. I'm probably going to pass on it if it does break out because you have the range expansion already happening here. So I guess technically this would have been the time to buy it because you have the tight closes, and then this is range expansion. It doesn't have to close above, like up in here, for it to be a breakout candle, because this close is still higher than this candle. I'm talking closes. So this is a good lesson in range expansion. This is where the stock closed, right? The stock closed here above 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, above the previous 5 closes. So this is actually the proper entry when it comes to this setup. Not a lot of people would, because what people are looking for is they're looking for the stock to close up here to be considered a breakout candle. And while this is true, this is also true. Zeta, again, not a stock I'm interested in. I'm wanting to trade stocks that are coming off the bottom and continuing, having the momentum burst off the bottom. First pullback in that run, right, in that stage 2 run. I'm looking for either catching the first leg up or catching the breakout from the first pullback of that. And so I want to see stocks that are neglected, forgot about, intentionally sold off, right? They're doing nothing. Then they have this big breakout. Then they fade. And then they continue, right? And so I'm trying to either catch this or catch this. I am not interested in catching it here or here or here or the bases, and then it comes up and then it's doing this. No, that's all fine and dandy. A lot of people would be like, oh, this is a great setup. And while it is a great setup, I am focused on this. And so that is all I have for this video. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, hit me up on Twitter, Ollie_all caps. Thank you.